All right. Hello, friends, and welcome back to another exciting episode of The Divine Speaker. Last episode, we started our journey to this hidden village that Emil is talking about here right now. And I don't know that much about it, but I am interested in seeing how this goes because we had that one short little section where we had like two women talking about coming down the mountain. And so I'm interested in seeing what that whole thing is about. I assume that this is going to connect with that short little scene. I'm just interested in seeing what this village is all about and what it looks like. It's hidden, you know? We gotta know what it is. So let's get into this story and let's see.
Let me take the lead. I don't know how they'll react to seeing humans trying to enter.
We all nodded and followed closely behind Varys, who made slow and careful steps towards the village. A vast mountain range surrounded us, and the icy tips seemed threatening. The landscape was bleak and quiet. You could even describe it as lonely. Lost in my own thoughts, I didn't even notice that another person had joined the group. Hey.
State your purpose, travelers.
You're one of the girls from earlier. Hello. Instantly, Varys raised his hands, showing that he had no weapons. The rest of us silently copied him. Leah set me down on the ground, and I stood beside him.
We've come to petition your aid.
Then you'd best turn back while you still have the chance.
Okay. She looked between us, one at a time, before settling on me. Her eyes went wide, and she suddenly rushed back into the village. Damn, Rain's scary.
This is suspicious.
Should we follow her?
We shouldn't be waiting for her, that's for sure.
Rain!
A flash of white rushed towards me, and suddenly I was being held in a tight embrace.
Whoa!
My injury ached, but I quickly wrapped my arms around the person who just charged towards me. All I could see was white hair. Her face was buried into my shoulder, and I could feel it becoming damper by the second. Beside me, I saw Leos tense up, but I quickly shook my head.
I'm sorry, but do I know you?
Oh, Rain, I'm so happy that you're okay. All this time I've been watching over you, but I never thought we'd get to meet properly.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was assuming, was that this was the person who was talking in Rain's dreams. But I wasn't 100% sure, and I was like, I don't want to say that and that'd be wrong. Her voice clicked in my mind. I felt my jaw drop.
You're the one from my dreams?
Ooh, Rain. The way you say that out of context.
What?
I'm so happy, Rain. I'm so happy to be able to talk to you.
This is cute. Her arms tightened even further around me, and mine around her.
I thought you were gone forever. How did you get here?
It's a long story, but there's plenty of time for that later. Oh, I have so much to tell you. I've wished for a chance to talk with you ever since you were a kid.
Okay.
Since I was a kid?
Like the time you got your head stuck in that tree. Oh, or when you climbed onto that roof and...
She has really been watching out, damn.
Okay, that's enough, I get it.
The giggles faded from her voice, and it became a low whisper.
The times when you felt lost, and the times you felt there was no hope left in the world. All I could do was watch. All I wanted was to hold you like this and tell you it would be okay. I'm sorry, this must be too sudden for you. A random woman pouncing on you in the wilderness, treating you like a child. I've known you for a very long time, Rain.
I do find it interesting that she is so interesting in like a weird way. And I'm not sure how to feel about it. That she knows so much about Rain, but Rain like knows nothing about her. Like a little bit weird, though I guess I understand. But also like, okay, maybe back up a little bit.
The least I could do is introduce myself. My name is Morwen.
Mom, is that you? What?
Thank you.
When I flinched, she pulled her face back from my shoulder and stared at me closely.
You're injured?
Just a little.
You should have said something. Tell me where it hurts, and I'll make it better.
Wait. I know I said I'd bring them here, but humans aren't allowed in the village.
Well, too bad.
I'm not human.
Maybe not, but your companions are. What do you want from us?
We need your help. We won't take no for an answer.
Awful pushy for a beggar.
We've come to request the help of the village gods. Sid Kaem, no. All of Vidus is in grave danger, and we can't face it alone.
It's Lucius, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
How did you know?
We've crossed paths more than once. I sensed it as soon as he entered Sid Kaem.
We don't interfere with human problems. You'll have to go elsewhere.
Oh, what a joke. Which part don't you understand? He's one of your kind.
To be fair, yes.
There's someone you can speak to, but his answer will be no different.
We'll see that for ourselves.
No matter what he says, I'll support you.
Okay.
Sylvia, can you take Rain in and look at his injuries?
No problem.
Damn, okay. Sylvia turned and walked into the village silently. We all followed along, but Morwen caught hold of Caspian and Emil's sleeves.
Will be just a moment.
To be fair, I feel like that is rather strange. Now, what to do about these two? Truly, my children are far too troublesome.
Do you, need something?
Morwen stared into both of their faces, and they looked back with confused expressions.
You two. You've been very naughty boys.
I've seen this CG before.
Don't think that the two of you went below my radar. Rain wasn't the first kid I've watched over.
Ooh, you're in trouble. With your godmom you didn't even know about.
You two have been fighting for far, far too long. It's about time you stopped.
Get on, Morwen.
When you two were children, you got along so well. If it hurts me this much to see you like this, then how do you two feel? To see you side by side again, it's enough to make me cry. I know it won't be instant. Wounds don't heal so easily. But all I ask is that you try. Even if it takes years, I believe in both of you.
Thank you, miss. But
Miss, I'm a lot older than both of you, you know. Older than every single person in this village put together. You might think I'm meddling, but
Morwen squeezed the two of them tighter.
I can see it. A long string, twisted and filled with knots as it is, that connects the two of you.
Okay.
Even after all of these years, I still see it.
Damn.
It's not possible. Not anymore.
Uh-huh.
I hope you'll change your mind, my little speaker. You've been through a lot. Don't blame yourself so much, okay? Well, we shouldn't keep the others waiting, should we?
Morwen finally withdrew from the hug, but the other two lingered, awkwardly.
What are you standing around for? Decided to hug and make up?
They both looked off to the side awkwardly, eyes darting around as if in search for a place to escape to. In response, Morwen reached up and pinched their cheeks, smiling all the while.
Follow me then. There's plenty of time for making up later.
Ah!
Oh, okay, we are inside.
Ugh, don't be a baby. It'll feel better in no time.
Right now it hurts.
Sylvia poured a tonic onto my wounds before rewrapping them. Leo stood on the other side of the room, watching on quietly, with his arms crossed. Finally, I put my shirt back on over the gauze, I guess, while Sylvia busied herself returning the medical supplies to their respective cupboards and boxes.
What are you staring at?
Well, you?
Mind your tongue before you lose it.
Listen, Sylvia, women hot. She's a little harsh.
Why are you helping me?
Morwen asked me to. Don't read into it so much.
You still could have said no.
I'm sorry. Would you prefer I undress your wound?
No. I'm sorry, okay? I'm just curious about you.
Ugh, if you have questions, then out with them already. There's nothing I can stand less than people playing coy.
You're Sylvia, the famous cartographer?
Her eyes went wide, and her mouth almost formed a full O before she composed herself.
How did you know that?
So it's true.
Anyone that remembers me is long dead or lost at the bottom of the ocean. I asked you a question. How did you know that?
I came across your journal. It was pure luck, I promise. I didn't realize you'd be here.
You can read Toggin.
Well, no. But I had someone with me that could. How did you end up here again? Last I read, you were guided out.
A curious one, aren't you?
Please?
What else did you expect to happen? I died. I thought that was it for me, but apparently, enough assholes thought good of me and I ascended as a god. Original, right?
Interesting.
All the gods I met ascended before the Aurelian War. What was it like exactly?
Cold.
Cold?
At first, it's like being held underwater. Desperate to breathe, but every breath you take fills your lungs with water. But you keep trying anyway. Then it's as if you're being pulled in all directions at once, in an endless abyss of darkness.
And then what?
I don't know what comes next. Then I fell down to the earth. Maybe that's the point where gods used to ascend to the heavens to watch over humans. But life isn't like that for us anymore. I just fell. I would have died for real then if I didn't find this body. I guess it was fate that I happened to fall as this body was dying.
Rain, here you are.
Morwen.
Emil and Caspian are with your companions. Sylvia?
I patched him up. I'll give you a moment.
Before I could open my mouth to reply, Sylvia fled the room, leaving me alone with Morwen and Leos. Seeing the atmosphere, Leos leapt after her. No, Leos!
How are you feeling?
Honestly, it's still painful. I can deal with it. Will you tell me how you got here?
She walked forward a few steps before sitting down on the bed that sat in the corner of the room. She motioned for me to join her.
I stayed with you until we reached Sidcaeum. I was trying to warn you before then, but I still couldn't speak to you properly. It's probably because you have no training as a speaker. It's a wonder I could reach you at all.
I'm sorry.
It's not your fault.
She reached out and cupped my cheek, a smile playing across her lips.
Once Lucius reached Sidcaeum, I knew he'd find you instantly if I stayed connected to you. It might have only bought you a little bit of time, but if that means the difference between your life or death, well, the choice was obvious to me.
Even though you could have died?
Her hand fell from my cheek to my hand, clasping it softly with her gloved fingers.
When you've lived as long as I have, sometimes that doesn't seem like such a bad thing.
Damn, okay.
Well, you can obviously tell I didn't die. Sylvia found me and guided me towards a body. I was weak, unused to the weight of flesh. She brought me back here to heal. I wanted to run away, to come find you, but my legs wouldn't listen.
Thank you for everything.
There's nothing to thank me for, my child. I barely did anything.
I shook my head and smiled. She'd done more for me than she realized. The door suddenly opened and in stepped Varys.
Varys?
Varys smiled as he approached, unsurprised.
You recognize me after all.
Okay.
It's been a long time, God of the Harvest.
And you, Goddess of Water.
You two know each other?
Obviously, Rain, come on.
We've never met in our human forms since I was locked away in Aurelia Cavella. But we knew of each other before then.
How is it in there?
Dire. They're all going insane. We're only a handful of what we used to be, too. Lucius has consumed many of the old gods.
No wonder he's so powerful. A mix of humans and gods to feast onto his heart's desire.
If you intend to fight him, then I'll be there too.
I fear that even with the two of us, it won't be enough.
Then we need the help of the villagers.
Varys nodded solemnly, thinking.
Sylvia says that it won't happen.
It will be difficult. Their leader has no interest in humans. I don't trust him.
As I've heard.
Before long, the door opened once again, and the rest of the group rejoined us. Sylvia already looked as if she was ready to punch Ilrin in the face. It's a gift, really, how he can get under someone's skin that quickly.
How are you feeling?
It still hurts, but I should survive it.
You should rest here while we go talk to their leader.
No.
I won't let you leave me behind.
Why don't I show the rest of you around for a minute?
The rest of you?
We'll leave you two alone for the moment, okay?
Damn.
Don't have too much fun.
Wait, you don't need to.
She waved her hand, and the whole group quickly left the room.
I'm sorry, okay?
I told you, you don't need to be.
I do trust you.
Did Sign know?
No, I don't think so.
No.
Fawn?
Yes, because he's the first person it happened to.
It was because of him that I found out about it.
I love that Rain is explaining things. Good job.
I see.
This is just a misunderstanding, okay? I promise I'm not keeping any other secrets from you. I just didn't know how to bring it up.
We should catch up with the others.
Okay.
Leos,
Before I had the chance to say anything else, he'd already left. I was alone. I stood from the bed with a groan, desperate to catch up to him.
Leos, wait up!
Up ahead, Leos had already caught up with the rest of the group, who were chatting as happily as one could chat under these circumstances. Sylvia guided us through the quiet, sleep-filled village. No one stirred behind those closed doors. No one peeked out between their shutters. By now, everyone must have been sound asleep. Leos paid no attention to me, no matter what I tried to say to him.
What, you're ignoring the pipsqueak now? How unlike our resident knight in shining armor.
I'm not ignoring anyone.
Uh-huh.
It sure looks like you are.
I'm not.
Ilrin nudged Leos, attempting to make him stumble towards me, but Sylvia caught his wrist.
Mind your own business.
Sylvia, you're no fun.
I only ever mind my own business.
That's a lie.
Varys, not you too!
I'm sorry, Ilron, but you truly wouldn't be yourself if you knew how to mind your own business.
Ouch! I suppose if it's coming from you, then I can accept it.
You're like a leashed dog.
Not the worst thing to be.
Oh, gross. I laughed to the side, but my heart still hurt.
Anyway, what's this leader of yours like?
He's kind-hearted, but don't think that makes him soft. He's tough, both mentally and physically. His answer will be no different than mine.
I'm sure between them, they'll be able to convince him.
Yeah, I believe in us.
You shouldn't give him false hope like that.
I believe in us.
I believe in them.
Thank
Is
you.
that so bad?
Sylvia offered no argument in return, but she suddenly stopped in her tracks.
Stay here. I'll let him know we have visitors.
Valid. She disappeared into a small house. A murmuring of voices could be heard inside, but I couldn't tell what they were saying. When she reappeared, she took Morwen's arm.
What are you doing?
They complete their case by themselves. I need to talk to you.
Don't leave us.
Fine. Rain, good luck.
A few moments after they disappeared around a corner, the door to the small house opened once again. I could feel my heart beating in my throat. It all rides on convincing this guy. We can do it, right? One step, then two, and finally, he came into view. I don't remember seeing your sprite, which is interesting, but I guess there is the possibility that I haven't seen them all, hey? A tall man with wide shoulders and a serious expression on his face. He shut the door behind him and looked down at me with a frown. He was surrounded by an air of strength, of fierceness and authority. His spiky, flame-colored hair stood out, even in darkness. His eyes passed over all of us before going wide. Instantly, the fierceness left his features, and in its place was a warmth that was previously missing, okay?
Varys.
Varys, I'm so glad you're with us. Oh my goodness, you are the heart of this operation. Use your clout with everyone to make them see reason, right?
Elliot?
I thought you were dead.
Not yet.
I thought the same of you. Dear friend, it's been far too long.
Oh, we've got this in the bag. Varys stepped forward, a rare look of complete happiness on his face. He was usually so calm, so composed.
If I'd known it was you, I would have hurried to greet you. What are you doing here?
I'm afraid this isn't a social visit. We need your help, and the situation is looking dire. Firstly, let me introduce you to everyone. Meet Elliot the Brave, the god of war, and a dear friend of mine. We've known each other for as long as I can remember, but we lost track of one another around 100 years ago.
Elliot? As in the Godslayer, Elliot?
You're familiar with my legend, then?
I am, but weren't you on Sid Kayam's side, fighting against the gods?
It's really hard to continue fighting against the gods when you are so renowned that after your death you become a god, you know? That's kind of fucked up.
Funny how life works out, isn't it? You've got an interesting party, Varys. Unless I'm seeing things. Hey.
There's no hiding anything from you. This is Ilron, my lifelong companion. And this is Leos, a traveler. And then we have Caspian, Crown Prince of Aurelia Cavella.
You know, as you do.
Hello there.
Lastly, this is Rain and Emil. They're, well...
divine speakers.
Varys nodded in response, and his eyes narrowed.
I know that at this point you must find it hard to trust them, but I wouldn't bring humans here if I didn't have faith in them.
He sighed, and conversation grinded to a halt. His eyes finally left Varys, and he looked into my face.
If you understand that, then you shouldn't have brought them here in the first place. Seeing as you went against your better judgment, though, I assume you're in some kind of trouble?
I wish I could say we weren't. Rain?
Oh. I'm sure you already know about the gods trapped in Aurelia Cavella.
It's ever present in my mind.
Well.
I came from Aurelia Cavella. It was my home for 18 years. I had to leave, and a lot has happened since then. But none of that is important right now. A god is broken free from Aurelia Cavella, and his power threatens all of Vidus. He's taken a body in Sid Kayam, and he intends to make everyone bow to his will. He calls himself the god of all gods.
He's too powerful to be called a mere god or demon anymore. I've never met anyone with so much raw energy surrounding them.
We couldn't possibly defeat him alone, you see.
Varys, tell me you didn't come all this way to waste my time.
Come on, was that not passionate enough for you?
He speaks the truth. He's a danger to not only humans, but all of us as well.
It's not our battle to fight. We've long since given up on protecting humans.
Protect yourself, my dude.
It is your battle to fight! He's a god, a former speaker, and someone who will not only eliminate any that stand in his way, but he'll keep the rest of the O-Gods trapped inside of Aurelia Cavella where they can't go against him! Do you think you'll fall under his radar? When he learns you're out here, he won't let you go on like this.
If we can get rid of him, then the Aurelian gods will finally be let free. Isn't that what you want?
He sighed, and his crossed arms tightened over his chest. Visibly, you could tell that he was thinking, and thinking hard at that.
Please, Elliot. We're begging for your support. Without it, we have no chance at winning.
I want to help you. I do. But it's not so easy. The others won't be convinced with mere words. They've cut all ties to humanity, and a threat to a human city means nothing to them.
To be fair, it does sound like all of the others listen to you, so just tell them to go.
We look out for ourselves, first and foremost. How many would die in battle against someone with so much power? Most of the gods here are not so different to humans. They're peaceful, simple. They aren't made for war.
That is valid.
Huh. The god of war turning down an opportunity like this?
I'm not the god of war by choice.
But you could make the choice to use it for the greater good.
I don't believe in the greater good. Who's to say your good is greater than those in the village?
There's really nothing we can say to convince you?
You can stay here the night. That's the most I can offer.
Damn.
Elliot.
Okay, hold on. Part 2. Morwen's gonna tell you, and you're gonna listen to her.
Morwen, show them to where they can sleep. I'll be back tomorrow.
Morwen nodded to Elliot, who turned and skulked off into the night.
By the looks on your faces, I assume it didn't go well.
Wasn't he meant to be a hero in Sid Kaon? I'm struggling to see why.
Don't think too badly of him. He's a good person, but the weight of everyone's lives is heavy on his mind. He's always been stubborn. Stubborn, but not unfair.
Perhaps a good night's sleep will help to clear your mind.
Maybe it will clear his mind.
Come, follow me. Rain, wait there for a moment.
Okay. And suddenly, I was alone. Morwen guided the rest to various rooms to rest for the night, while I stood in the street. High up in the mountains, the breeze was colder than ever. Once again, I thanked Ash in my mind for the warmth my clothes brought to me. Sign, Vaughn, stay safe, please. I'll do whatever I can to save you. Leos, I'm sorry.
Hello, Rain.
You surprised me.
You were completely zoned out. A lot on your mind?
It's Fawn and Sign. I'm worried about them.
As am I.
I can't say I'm exactly full of confidence if even the goddess of water is worried.
It's a fancy title for a not-so-important person, I promise. I was little more than a laundry girl in my lifetime. It was different then. The towns and villages I knew have long since been forgotten.
How long ago did you become a god?
I don't know anymore, Rain.
It sounds hard. I don't think I'd be able to do it.
What part?
Struggling in a world that's forgotten you. Watching people around you die while you live forever.
It's harder now than ever. When we were a part of the heavens, it wasn't so much of a big deal.
Because you were surrounded by your own kind, right?
Exactly. Many have had no choice but to blend in with human society. We've become so tightly interwoven that the pain of living forever is much more apparent than before.
Like you'll run in Varys.
Morwen smiled at me, sadly.
It's been a long time since I've seen a case like that. They both mean the world to each other. In fact, I'd say they mean even more than that. It just makes it all the more painful in the long run. Varys has seen people die around him for hundreds of years.
Varys plans to pass on after the Aurelian gods are freed.
It's tough.
May I ask you some questions?
Of course you can.
And I hope that we can ask all of these. Can you tell me more about Lucius?
Is there anything else you can tell me about Lucius?
I'd like to think I know him well enough. When he was speaker and Emil was just a babe, we talked on many occasions. He's the type of person that lives in the shadows and only acts once he's sure he can win. It was the same when he killed the royal family. He plotted it for years. His only regret was that Caspian got away.
Why would Emil trust him so much if he was evil from the start? He drove the wedge between my father and him, right?
Saying my father still sounded weird and unnatural.
Lucius was his mentor and father figure. It was hard for Emil to imagine him doing wrong. When you're brought up like a speaker, it must be awfully lonely.
How so?
You don't know?
I shook my head in response to her surprised tone.
They're taken from their parents at birth, forbidden to know so much as their names.
Why?
It's tradition. The way it's always been. Speakers also have a habit of being born around the same time as princes, so it's always made sense that they should be raised together. If they're to rule together, they must know each other better than they know themselves. Lucius, he used their relationship to his advantage. He's a snake of a man.
Will we be able to beat him?
Absolutely.
I don't know.
What were Emil and Caspian like before?
Were Emil and Caspian much different when they were younger?
I assume.
Emil and Caspian? Oh, completely different.
Will you tell me about them?
Well, Emil was much more reserved and quiet, but he also had quite a fiery temper.
Okay.
Most people would have called him shy, except for Caspian, who knew him well. He was a good kid, hardworking and kind. It was too much for him, though. I could tell he wanted to grow up as a normal child with a normal family.
What about Caspian?
He was like the sun, warm and bright, full of energy. He was confident beyond measure, and he had a strong sense of adventure. A natural-born leader. When he spoke, people listened. Emil admired that greatly.
They're both so different.
That's what time does to you. They had time to be bitter, so their emotions boiled inside of them, with nowhere to go.
You think they'll be able to make up?
Absolutely. If I have anything to say about it, 100%.
I hope so. Both of them deserve it.
Yeah.
But who knows? It's not an easy thing to forgive someone.
I believe.
What about you? Do you forgive Emil or Caspian?
I think so. Caspian... No, my father. Had he known I was alive, I'm sure he would have come back for me, right?
Morwen nodded in response, listening closely.
And Emil... He's a victim of circumstance himself. Sure, he could have ignored the voice that was screaming at him to have me killed, but after so many years full of anger, am I even sure I'd do any different?
I like that about you, Rain. You're so positive, so forgiving. It's a great strength as long as you make sure not to let anyone walk over you.
Do you know much about Elrond?
Do you know anything about Elrond?
I feel like I should be asking you that. I can't say I know anything, but I'm deeply curious.
Apparently, he came from Aurelia Cavella as a kid. He works as a bounty hunter now, as far as I'm aware.
I like that the P in apparently and the K in works kind of just form together into one very large letter. Interesting.
I guess somewhere along the way he met Varys, and they've been traveling together ever since.
They have a strange relationship. It's nice.
Okay, continue.
They're both so different from each other. Differing personalities, differing backgrounds, differing lifespans. Yet, they're as close as can be. I envy that.
Varys seems good for Elrond.
Elrond for Varys, too, by the looks of it. They give each other something that they've never had before.
Tell me about when you were human.
Will you tell me more about when you were human?
You want to know more about me?
Absolutely.
Please?
Well, I came from a small village on the coast to the south of Vidis. It was called Mirefall.
Okay.
It's long since been wiped from both memory and map. I grew up as the daughter of farmers, and I mostly did odd jobs around the village. You're probably wondering how a simple person like me ascended, right?
Everybody just liked you a lot.
I was wondering about that, but I thought it might be rude to ask.
Nonsense. I said I'd share anything with you. A great illness passed through my village, and many people died. Our elders told us that the gods had forsaken us, that this was a curse sent from the heavens for our sins.
She twirled some of her hair between her fingers, looking up into the star-filled sky.
I was in no position to argue with them. I was just the laundry girl. But one day, as I went to the river to wash the clothes, I noticed that something about the water seemed wrong. It sounds silly, doesn't it? It should be common knowledge that bad water can make you sick, but it wasn't known back then.
This really must have been a long time ago.
The elders wouldn't listen to my findings, so I took it into my own hands. I came back with the knowledge of how to purify water, and lo and behold, the sickness stopped.
You must have been thought of as a hero.
From most of the village, yes.
Okay.
Most of it?
The elders shunned me at first, embarrassed that a simple girl like me could solve the issue, while they sat around twiddling their thumbs. The shunning became outright anger, though.
I'm so sorry.
A few months later, I was washing the village's clothes down by the river, as I always do. It was running wildly, angrily.
And they drowned you?
Someone pushed me, and I drowned. That was the end of my story, yet here I am today. Don't worry, it was a long time ago now. I'm not upset about it.
I'm so angry.
Thank you, Rain. That's enough from me, isn't it? There's something I'd ask of you instead.
All right.
What is it?
It's about Leos.
Okay. I guess we'll never know.
Hey.
What's up? Leo skulked through the night, finally catching hold of the person he was looking for. The green-haired man looked at him with feigned surprise, but both of them were expecting this. Leos had quickly left the room he was led to by Morwen. His mind was racing too much for any rest to be viable. Firstly, Rain's secret. He wasn't upset or mad or even disappointed. He didn't hate him for it, it just hurt. He understood why he wasn't told he was an assassin after his life. but it still hurt. Secondly, the dagger given to him by Lucius. His family crest, but how? Why would it be in Sid Caum? How would whoever's body that was have it? That is not English to me. Okay. Lastly, the man standing in front of him, Ilrun. His childhood friend.
Oh, another scandalous nighttime visit? What will people say?
I'll go on ahead.
Don't get up to too much trouble.
When do I ever?
Varys waved and quickly faded into the darkness, leaving the other two alone. Ilrun was quiet for once as he waited for the other to speak up. You're doing great, Leos. I believe in you.
Are you just going to stand there and stoically stare?
You're him, aren't you? The boy from my memories.
I didn't think you'd remember me.
It's true.
Why didn't you tell me?
Ilrun rubbed at the back of his neck, uncharacteristically showing his weaker side.
It was in the past. I didn't know if it was even worth bringing up.
All this time, I thought you were dead. I always blamed myself.
Why?
Because I was always told I would be the cause of death for everyone around me. I never wanted to believe it, but when you disappeared, I thought...
I'm sorry. I wanted to say goodbye, but the situation was a little out of my control.
Valid. The two men sat down side by side in the snow, a sudden weight lifted off of their shoulders.
But if you're okay, then maybe my judgment doesn't mean so much after all.
Yeah, I believe in you, Leos.
I've never taken much stock in it. Who cares what anyone else thinks?
That's easy coming from you. All you do is live life carefree.
Well, if I come across like that, then I suppose I've done well. You know what they've said about me? A disciple to the speaker, one of his many assistants.
Okay.
A holy man, if you will. So, not good enough to be a speaker, but good enough to be used as a god's footstool.
Aren't you doing exactly that right now?
Shut up. Varys is different. He's the only one I'd follow.
You were the only person who ever made me feel normal back then, you know?
How was it after I left?
I spent a long time staring at the same blank wall as punishment for sneaking out, but that's all old news. I'm over it now. And more importantly, you left with your mother, right?
That's right.
How is she? She always had the kindest smile. You know, back then, I wish I could have been born as you.
She died. But I've finally come to terms with it, thanks to a certain someone.
Gee, I wonder who.
I'll live my best life, so that when we meet again, she can tell me how proud she is.
I think that's the best way to live.
You should give it a try too. It's not half bad.
I don't know if I deserve to.
Why? Because you killed a few people? It hasn't stopped me.
Well, if Rain were here, he'd tell you not to take life so lightly.
And when did you start agreeing with him so easily?
I don't know. He's an idiot, isn't he?
Yeah, 100%.
That much is obvious.
But he has a good heart.
You've become so sentimental and mushy. You know that?
You're no different. I'm confused about everything now. My life, my purpose, Rain.
You know, in times like this, I like to remember an ancient proverb from across the seas.
Okay.
Live every moment, laugh every day, love beyond words.
That sounds gross coming from you.
Yeah, that sounds stupid as fuck. Are you messing with me?
Yeah, sorry. Fine. You want some actual advice? Seriously, just follow your heart. It sounds corny, but the only thing stopping you and Rain getting together is your own insecurities.
To be fair.
Getting together with him?
Right. I forgot you were an ex-cult member. Dating, marriage, whatever you want it to be. You love him, don't you?
Damn, Elrin.
There's no point not taking a chance and then regretting it later. Fuck. I'm such a hypocrite.
I suppose we're not so different after all.
I guess not.
Damn. He's even self-aware.
What's stopping you from doing the same with him?
With Varys? Well, the immediate issue is our difference in mortality, isn't it? I'll be dead in no time at all for him. And I don't even know if he likes me like that. I mean, we're as close can be, but it's scary to take that last step.
Why not just do it anyway?
You heard him, didn't you? He plans for this to be his last trip.
Not if I have anything to say about that.
I'm sorry.
I don't know what I'll do without him.
Leos looked down at the slightly snow-covered ground, unsure of what to say.
Take my case as an example, all right? This is what you shouldn't do. At least sleep with him first.
Well.
No?
No, but I don't think we...
This is an interesting development. The student has become the master.
I'm not really sure if we,
How can you not be sure?
Biting down his embarrassment and shame, he somehow managed to tell the other exactly what had happened between them.
You are so lucky Rain is equally as clueless as you are about these things. Here, take this.
Ilrin fished into his pocket before throwing a bottle towards Leos. He caught it and peered in skeptically.
What is it?
Ilrin.
That, my friend, will help the two of you have much more fun.
Ilrin leaned in close to Leos's ear, and if anyone was watching, they would have seen him becoming redder and redder with every word.
Why do you carry this stuff around?
In your pocket for ease of use.
Just in case.
Alright, end of scene.
Don't get up to too much trouble.
Oh, just kidding.
When do I ever?
Okay. Oh, okay, this is flashback to that, and then we continue on as Varys, I guess. Walking alone through the night, Varys left Ilrin and Leos behind to talk. He knew about their past and had encouraged Ilrin to speak up sooner, but he didn't push. It wasn't his place. Their talk faded into the distance, and he was left alone with his own thoughts. Perhaps this is the last time I will walk amongst the mountains, the last time to hear the snow crunch beneath my feet. There's still a lot I wish to see, so many years to my name, yet so many places left to travel to. What I would give to visit them all, with Ilrin by my side. But his life is not mine to waste. Putting those thoughts out of his mind, ahead he saw two figures speaking quietly in the shadows. Hello? As he peered in close, he realized that actually it looked rather one-sided.
Emil. Caspian.
Okay, not who I was expecting.
Oh, hello there. Varys?
That's right. Are you two not tired?
What are y'all doing? Why is Varys, like, in the middle of all these people talking to each other? What's going on?
I am. It's just... Fine. All right. I'm going.
Damn. He left in a rush, leaving Varys standing beside Emil. He was much taller, much broader than he would have imagined. He looked like a speaker, but didn't really act like one. Perhaps that's why Varys almost felt sorry for him.
You're not going to sleep?
I'm not tired.
Then would you care for a walk? The fresh air may help.
Emil looked Varys up and down, trying desperately to think of a way to turn him down, but in the end...
Fine.
Emil crossed his arms over his chest to keep his warmth in as the two walked down the wide, snow-covered path. Calling it a path was a little much, though. It was simple, worn down from the travel of many feet, but nothing like the streets back in the cities. In a way, it reminded Varys of home, of his childhood, of simpler times when he believed he could live a normal human life.
Perhaps you're wondering why exactly you came along. Perhaps you also feel as if everyone here is against you, like you're surrounded by enemies.
And if I did?
Then I would lay your worries to rest, for I am no enemy of yours. I'm only a traveler.
And a god. One of many I've managed to offend without my knowledge.
In life, we all hurt others without realizing. What matters is how you fix it.
How I'll fix it? I'm here, am I not?
I suppose you are, in a physical sense. Your body is here, your mind is here, but your heart lies somewhere else.
It lies nowhere.
How sad for you, if you believe that's true. Maybe you should think about this trip differently. This is a second chance. You can change things for the better. You can seek forgiveness.
With whom?
Emil.
Caspian. Who else?
Damn, Varys went for it.
I don't deserve anyone's forgiveness. I've made too many mistakes.
Maybe the first step is forgiving yourself then.
Okay, alright, I like that advice.
I can tell that the two of you have deeply hurt each other, but I don't think it's irreparable. But that's enough chat about others, isn't it? It isn't my business whether you decide to...
Thank you. I'll try to talk to him.
I'm pleased to hear it. If you have the time, I'd like to hear more about you.
Okay.
About me?
I've lived a very long life. Only 500 years as a human, but countless more years before that without this body. I've seen many divine speakers, but I can't say many have been like you. They were... how do I put it? Self-righteous? Sanctimonious? They acted as if they were above mortal whims, yet they all seemed to fall down the same hole. They became greedy, self-centered. You? I can see that you're different.
Am I? I never wanted to be speaker. I still don't.
What?
It was a title given to me without any decision on my part. I always longed for a normal family, a normal life. But it wasn't all bad. I had Caspian by my side, and he made it worth it.
You're very lucky to have had him then.
Yes. Yes, I was. And I took it for granted. I truly have become an old fool. What I would give to go back in time and fix things.
At the very least, you seem extremely young to me.
That's really no compliment.
Varys giggled softly, thinking back on how much he despised speakers as a young man.
I'm glad we had this chance to chat. You're different to what I expected.
You are too.
You should go get some rest. You'll need it if tomorrow turns out anything like I expect it to.
Say who's next? About Leos? Oh, we're back to the conversation where she asked something about Leos.
I think I hurt him.
Okay, not where I was expecting this to go, but sure.
There's plenty of time to fix that. Just tell him the truth about how you feel.
Damn.
How I feel?
How do I feel?
I think I might be sick.
All right, Rain.
Sick?
Whenever I see him, I feel really strange.
Right, I forgot.
Oh, Rain. You really are silly. You know that?
He is.
I'm serious. I don't know what's wrong with me.
Young love really is sweet, isn't it?
Love?
Yes. Love.
A feeling of ease washed over me. A sense of validation. I think I felt like this for a very long time.
I've got to go tell him.
Damn, okay.
Make sure not to stumble over your words. Take it slow.
Yes.
Oh, hey. What's up? Don't mind us, we're just having a conversation.
Caspian. Come over here. Don't stand there gawping.
Caspian approached us, awkwardly looking away.
I never thought I'd see the two of you side by side, you know.
Me either.
I'm suddenly feeling awfully tired.
Oh, okay, bye.
Then I should.
It's a nice night for a walk, Rain. Enjoy it.
As she left, my eyes turned to Caspian.
Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt. Do you have some free time?
Well, I'm not exactly busy. Did you need something?
No, nothing in particular. I just thought we could, I don't know, talk for a bit.
About what?
You know, just stuff.
I wasn't expecting that sound, okay?
I feel like I've missed such a big part of your life, and I know I can't fix that instantly, but I'd like a chance to try.
I nodded to him, and we walked slowly through the village, side by side. I wanted to get to know him. I didn't blame him for what happened, but I still found it strange to think of him as my father.
Tell me about you. You were raised in an orphanage?
Yeah, for all of my life. The matron found me on her doorstep when I was a baby. I suppose that was right after you,
And, what of this matron? Was she kind to you?
The kindest. I'll always think of Arala as a mother to me. I really miss her.
Arala?
Do you know her?
Gods, what a small world this is. She raised me too.
Okay, so maybe she knows some things.
Wait, what? How? You were raised in an orphanage?
She lost her job.
No, of course not. She was more like, my tutor. But it was always more than that. I saw her more than my actual parents.
So like the same for Emil, right? Because you two grew up together and all that. Interesting. My grandparents. Listen, I'm not focusing on that. I'll never get to know them.
But how did she go from being a royal tutor to running an orphanage? It doesn't make any sense.
Well, believe it or not, all of the royals died.
I told you about how Emil and I snuck out, didn't I?
Oh.
Well, she got all the blame for that. It's something I regret more than anything else. She was punished because of me. By the time we found our way back to Aurelia Cavella, she'd been thrown out of the royal family. I never saw her again after that. I didn't even know if she was alive or not.
She would have known who I really was.
Don't be mad at her. She must have been trying to keep you safe.
I could never be mad at her. I want to thank her. She let me grow up normally.
That's more of a blessing than you realize.
Can I ask you a question too?
Anytime.
What was my mother like?
He sighed and abruptly stopped walking.
She was my comfort and a dear friend.
Just a friend?
Well, I mean, Rain. You do need to know a few things about how you were born, if you think they were just friends.
It's a long, complicated story. My feelings and emotions were all muddled up. And at the time, I didn't even understand what love really was. But I was heartbroken, even if I didn't know the word back then. She was kind, caring, and understood what I was going through. We supported each other, and I enjoyed her company. She needed help. She was sick and wanted to run away from her family, and I was alone and desperately wanted someone to lean on. Neither of us were in love, but I did love her very much.
Okay, understandable.
It's Emil then.
Your mother? No. Try again, Rain.
It's a thing of the past, but once upon a time, I would have called him the one.
And if I have anything to do with it, Caspian. I yawned. Oh, damn. Okay, sorry. Rain's fallen asleep. He doesn't fucking care. And the sadness wiped away from Caspian's face.
Go on, get some sleep. I'm sorry for keeping you.
Before I go, it was Soren that pointed me to you.
Ooh, that is a nice thing to say. Okay.
Soren?
He spoke of you so highly. He misses you very much.
And now he's in a coma, so good luck with that.
I always wanted to go back and find him, but after what happened...
I heard about it. Right now, he's unconscious with a chance of never waking up. No. When he does, I want you to be there with me.
Of course.
Good. Then I better head to bed. Good night.
As I turned around, I heard Caspian shuffling behind me.
Rain? Thank you.
You too.
And I think with the end of that conversation, we are going to end this episode. That was a lot of plot, a lot of conversations. Like I said, I was really hoping that we would get that. I guess I didn't technically say it, I don't know, but I have been really hoping that we'd get a conversation between Leos and Ilren. I really wanted to see that moment where they could talk about it, and honestly, I'm really surprised with how open they were with each other. For two characters who are maybe a little bit more closed off. I mean, we know Leos and how he just doesn't like to talk to people, but even Ilren is closed off and kind of more goes towards humor than describing himself and how he's feeling. For them to both be so open with each other and talk about their pasts and what happened, their current selves, I really enjoyed that, and everything else was something that I wasn't expecting, but interesting. I really liked this episode, and I hope that you did as well, but I need to end it eventually, and this seems like a good moment. So, thank you for watching this episode. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time to see whether or not Elliot wants to help us. Maybe we get some more moments between characters? Don't know.